Yeah, LTL true crime, we going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime, unraveling the web of evil. No stone left unturned, we dive into the prime. Yeah, we digging up the dirt, bringing justice to the crime. LTL true crime, unveiling dark realities every time. Yeah, LTL true crime, we going deep in the dark. Peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime, go. We don't get living the show, but then I'm not talking about it, that's so. Look at the place in your phone. No can you wait your life. Good now, you wish your love. We better hit that. You'll be hit that, hit that. Better than running the boats. Epic, no true crime. I'm done with dark realities every time. This is epic, no true crime. I'm done with dark realities every time. Yeah, LTL true crime. We going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime. We going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime, we going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi.
Hey everybody, welcome back to LTL True Crime. We are live here on this Thursday evening, March 28th, 2024. We're going to get back into Sean P. Diddy Combs or Sean Diddy Combs, whatever it is now, but it ain't looking good. That's what I can say. A lots of content, lots of videos and lots of allegations and lots of people stepping forward and talking about this case that no P. Diddy. Crazy stuff. I mean, every hour it seems like there's something that's added more to this investigation, this story. And I had to jump back on this. We had a very successful stream the other night. I think we had almost over 850 people in watching when this all broke the other night. So we'll get back in here and talk about some of the updates that are going on. But it's wild stuff. But you know what? I'll be honest with you, in my opinion, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me because we hear of things like this that happen in the music and the entertainment industry, in Hollywood is what I like to call it. But it doesn't surprise me at all. But lots of just crazy stuff. It doesn't look good for Diddy at all. It's not looking good for Diddy at all. And I was just talking to my girlfriend when I got home from work today, and I said, we were talking about this, and I said, the feds are not going to just come in. Homeland Security is not going to come in and smash your house all apart if they don't have something on you. If they don't have something, at least something on you that's leading to this direction that they're going into, And it was funny because I said to her, I said, I wonder, and think about this. What did we just see a couple of months ago? We saw a suspect arrested in Tupac's murder. And I'm wondering now, because the rumors have always swirled around there, was Sean Combs involved with the setup of murdering Biggie Smalls? And I'm wondering if something like that is being looked into as well with this whole human trafficking case. Now, again, it may not be. Maybe they're not looking for anything like that. But why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't federal investigators start investigating this? I mean, like I said, we just saw Tupac's killer or alleged killer get arrested, not too long ago. This could lead to an investigation in the Biggie Smalls murder. I'd be very curious to see, what happens with all of that. But that being said, again, this just gets weirder and weirder. From Fox News, I'm going to pull this up. Sean Diddy Combs lawsuit names 50 Cent's ex-girlfriend as one of the music mogul's alleged sex workers. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, you can't script it. It's just getting crazier and crazier. So it says several of Diddy's homes were raided by Homeland Security on Monday. We go into a lawsuit filed against Sean Diddy Combs made by a male music producer, alleged sexual assault, is shedding more light on the embattled music mogul's alleged activities and how he is connected to a fellow rapper's ex-girlfriend. We also just found out, and there's videos swirling around everywhere, a supposed P. Diddy's drug mule was arrested. It's just getting crazier and crazier. In the documents obtained by Fox Digital News, Rodney Little Rod Jones, we've heard that name a lot lately, a producer on Combs' latest studio album, the Love album, Off the Grid, alleged the Bad Boy Records founder bragged about having several women on a monthly stipend. Jesus. One of the women named in the lawsuit, Daphne Jones Cervantes Nureves, commonly known as Daphne Joy, she is the ex-girlfriend of Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. And it goes on to say here, Jones alleges those women, including Joy, were paid on a monthly fee to work as Mr. Combs' sex workers. Diddy follows Joy on Instagram, and they were photographed together in Miami Beach in 2021. I am deeply hurt by the lies in Rodney Jones' lawsuit. They claim that I am a sex worker, and that is 100% false and character assassination. Joy posted in a statement on Instagram, I am retaining an attorney to explore all legal remedies against both Rodney and his attorney. I'm going to tell you, this is going to get ugly. Going to be a lot of industry people that are pulled into these lawsuits and allegations, and I think we're just cracking the surface here. When we get into the thick of the egg here, I think there's going to be a lot more people that come out and say things or are involved in this. It usually starts with one person, the person on the top, and then it just has that huge trickle down effect of how the hell did we get to this point? How did we get here? So we'll go on to say Joy and 50 Cent dated in 2011, welcoming the son Sire in 2012. The following year, the rapper pled not guilty to a domestic violence and vandalism charge involving Joy. In the club, rapper was accused of kicking Joy and dismantling her property, according to Reuters. Fantastic. Great stuff. He was later sentenced to 3 years probation and 30 days of community service. He also paid restitution and fines. This is the funny thing about it. That was me and you. We'd be behind bars for 10 years. 10 years. And these people always get a slap on the wrist. Jones filed an update suit March 25th after filing the original original in New York's federal court in February. The filing came weeks after Diddy settled a separate lawsuit with ex-girlfriend Cassie, who accused him of rape. At the time of the filing, Combs' lawyer disputed Jones' claims, calling them pure fiction in the statement shared by Fox News Digital. We're going to go into a lot of just repeat stuff that we've heard, but let's get into some videos here. Let's watch this first one here. It says what Sean Diddy Combs was doing while his home was raided by Homeland Security. It's from Entertainment Tonight. Let's play this puppy up and see what they had to say. What was Sean Diddy Combs doing?
Man, you got some visitors, dog.
Not a lot.
Oh, man, you got some visitors, dog.
We're seeing that large presence.
New video, Diddy slowly pacing outside Miami's private jet facility at 3 p.m. yesterday via TMZ as Homeland Security raided mansions on both coasts, from his $35 million waterfront estate in Florida to Beverly Hills.
I'm outside Diddy's $40 million pad.
$40 million.
It's quiet now, but yesterday, media, SWAT vehicles.
$40 million. Look at that gate. Insane. This friggin' thing is huge.
Dozens of armed officials and investigators descended on the property, seizing boxes of evidence and putting his sons Christian and Justin.
And if you want to support LTL True Crime, you can. My link is pinned to the top there, or you could become a member down below. I will tell you this, all my members, I got some good news today tell my members and subscribers here, I get a call from my landlord in my rented space. I'm going to be moving into my own studio on April 1st, and I got a call from my landlord today. I am able to pick the key up as my space is totally renovated. It'll be a blank canvas. I've already started buying furniture. I have all my audio, video, and camera equipment. My girlfriend seems to said I went a little overboard, but when I do things, I go all the way. I go all the way, and I set myself for success for the future. But anyway, I am going to, on Saturday, meet my new landlord, and I am getting my key to my new studio. I'm getting the key to my new studio. Now, I'm going to be totally upfront, transparent with everybody. I'm not going to be able to stream right away. It's going to take me a little while to get this studio built out. I'm hoping a 2-week turnaround, but I will continue to stream here from home until I move into the studio. And I'm going to do something for members. I have a great idea for members. What I'm going to do is film all the behind the scenes stuff as we build out the studio. And if you are a member, you will have privilege to see the complete build out behind the scenes. And I will post those videos for members only. So if you want to see the build out of my studio, you can go down there and join a membership down below. Just click the join button. My memberships start at $1.99, only $1.99, and that will get you access to watching my studio build out. And then what we'll do is when we have the grand revealing, we'll do a first live and show you what the studio looks like. So I'm super excited. I've spent a lot of my own money to do this, a lot of money to do this. I'm going all the way. Essentially, we're going to do this and put in it. And the great thing about it is I'm going to have a solo center, so I continue to do solo lives like this, but it's going to give me the ability to allow live guests to come in and sit down in the studio with me. And I'll have a person in front of me that I can talk to. And I'm super excited. I think it's going to elevate LTL to the level that I've been looking for and what I've been wanting to do with this channel. And I think that we're going to have so many capabilities and so many things that we'll be able to do in that space. I'm super excited about it. And it's going to put this on the next level. I'm going to tell you that there's going to be a lot of changes here. And there's going to be a lot of grand unveiling when we get to that point. And I believe me, you're all going to be blown away with what we're going to be able to do and what that studio is going to look like. Let me just pull this up. Audrey has become a new member. Thank you for supporting LTL True Crime. I appreciate it. But I will get you updates as soon as we can. And I will start filming and giving the members updates as the studio gets built out. So become a member. If you want to watch the build out of the brand new studio, become a member and you'll be able to watch all the back room footage. All right, let's get back to Diddy. What the hell was he doing on that Monday?
In handcuffs. They were reportedly detained and released. So what does this raid mean for Diddy and any evidence against him?
Law enforcement had enough to get the search warrant. They maybe even have enough to get an indictment. And if so, I expect Diddy to be arrested in a matter of days and no more than weeks.
This afternoon, Diddy's attorney called the raid a gross overuse of military-level force and part of a witch hunt, adding that his client is innocent and was never detained but spoke to and cooperated with authorities.
How y'all doing?
Seems like Diddy was completely caught off guard. Check out his demeanor just 6 days ago, beaming while out with his son Quincy in West Hollywood. So where's the rapper now? Well, all eyes have been focused on tracking his private jet, which left LA around 9 a.m. yesterday, bound for Antigua and Barbuda.
The United States has an extradition treaty with Antigua and Barbuda, which means that Diddy can be arrested there and brought back to the United States.
The thing you go to relax in the world. I like the Caribbean.
No, Diddy is not on the run. He was not on that flight, but is a free man for now and can travel. He was reportedly scheduled to leave for a trip to the Bahamas.
You went to a private island, you isolated yourself, no phones.
Off the grid is something I do like at least once a month.
Just 6 months ago, this single star told ET his ideal date is all about isolating.
No phones, no Wi-Fi. Before there was the internet, there was no way like to track your girlfriend or nothing.
50 Cent, who's currently producing a
Track your girlfriend. Come on, man.
Documentary on his longtime enemy's sexual assault allegations wasted no time posting speculation Diddy was fleeing the country and, quote, I told y'all.
Get up on that.
Diddy's Been Around the World music video has gone viral, showing him fleeing cops on a
Anna Marie, a
private
new
plane.
member.
If
Thank you
he's
so
under
much for supporting
indictment, the
LTL
judge
True
will
Crime.
issue
I
an arrest warrant, which means
appreciate
that he
it.
can be arrested
Yes.
whether it's here in the
No
United
phones,
States
no internet,
or
no
in the
Wi-Fi,
Caribbean.
no witnesses. Gary, I want to thank you so much for sending over those lawsuits. I did take a look at them. Probably do that in a future stream. I'll be honest with you. Probably do that, but I just want to get to this right now. All right, let's keep playing.
And former employee / Danity Kane member Aubrey O'Day posted, what you sow, you shall reap. I pray that this emboldens all of us victims to finally speak on what we have endured.
It was torture, mind games. I don't think any of us have healed from that.
Aubrey and other ex-bandmates stood by Diddy's ex Cassie.
Why are all these Hollywood celebrities? Their faces are all so tight. They're always like, so this is their look. They look like they get hit by a wind tunnel. It's like the wind tunnel. They're all pulled back and tight. It's all right. Just let yourself age naturally. I always look at like Cher. You know, Cher was always a beautiful woman growing up. All the Sonny and Cher stuff, all that. She went and started pulling her face back. Look at Madonna. Madonna, the same thing. Madonna, same thing. Madonna, beautiful woman, always beautiful, and then started playing with her face. She looks like a damn cat now. It's crazy. Stephanie, thank you so much for becoming a new member and supporting LTL True Crime. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's called Botox. No, it's this all this stuff. They pull their faces back. It's crazy. Way overdone. And then the lip injections. And their lips look like this. Why would you want to walk around like that? Why would you want to walk around? Why would you want to walk around like that? Why? Why would you want to walk around like that?
Was one of at least 5 people to file lawsuits accusing
like
him
a
of
duck.
crimes from rape and sex trafficking to physical abuse. The rapper vehemently denied the claims and settled Cassie's suit just a day later.
Ultimately, I think
Yes, that's right.
Diddy is going to be
Very
indicted
close
by
to my
a grand jury. Diddy can be looking at a 10 or even 15-year mandatory minimum sentence for even one count of sex trafficking.
Oh no! Oh man, they're gonna nail me with some sound clips here. I'm gonna kill that off right now. They're gonna nail me with playing the music, so we'll back off that. All right, let's see. Where is Sean Diddly Combs? Let's play this from News Nation.
Somebody else who knew something was wrong is former NYPD detective Derek Parker, who's part of the department's intelligence unit that tracked rappers and their links to crime. It's good to see you, detective. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Am I wrong to say that for a very long time, anybody with a brain knew that Puff Daddy wasn't just an upstanding citizen who sung good music and made a lot of money?
Well, back then, when I investigated Puffy and some of the incidents he was involved with, he was involved in certain things, but it was nothing like this.
Do you all think this opens up a federal investigation? Because there's always been the rumors, and I asked this at the beginning of the show. Now we get some more people in here. I want to ask you all. Let me know here in the chat. Do you think this opens up a federal investigation into seeing, right? Am I saying that right? If Sean Diddy Combs had anything to do with Biggie Smalls' murder, do you think they'll look into that? I mean, like I said, we just found out what happened in Tupac's case. They arrested a man that allegedly is involved with Tupac's murder. Do you think this opens up that door? Let me know in the chat. Give me a yes or no. I want to see it. All right, let's keep playing
something
through.
that's been coming out.
You ever hear rumors?
There were always like talk of things at his parties and some of the things that he did, but I never saw that with him.
All right. I watched an interview with you
think so,
earlier,
too.
and you said that there were some very powerful lawyers that Puff Daddy had to protect him from the investigations you were launching. Was there also some very powerful
It'd be so
celebrities, very
crazy,
powerful
right, Mazza?
influencers in New York as well that were trying to protect him? He was sort of too good to take down.
Well, no, not at that time. Puffy had problems because he had the shooting at Club New York with J-Lo, when J-Lo was with him. And then he had the shooting, he had the assault at MTV Studios with Steve Stout, and he refused to press charges, so we couldn't really go forward with that case back then. But, you know, Puffy and I got to know one another because every time he got into trouble, I had to go to see what was going on, or to arrest him, or to assist in arresting him.
All right, you say that you had to assist in arresting him on and on and on. Claims from some of the lawsuits ordered sex workers and prostitutes order and distribute ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, mushrooms. That's documents from Rodney Little Rod Jones against somebody who was involved along with Puff Daddy. That he had an assistant, Diddy's chief of staff in a sex trafficking probe. Court documents in a lawsuit compare her to Ghislaine Maxwell. Describe for us Puff Daddy's world and how he sort of expanded that world from just rap culture to white parties in the Hamptons that became the place to be for the New York jet set crowd.
Well, back then when Puffy, when I retired and stuff, Puffy had his brand. His brand was Bad Boy Records. DVD. And also he did a lot with, radio and TV. And he did a lot of parties in the Hamptons and the city. He had.
If I remember, did he still have the alleged weapon that killed, that murdered Tupac? Am I right on that? I might be wrong on that. But I thought I remember reading or hearing something that he still had the alleged weapon somewhere. All right, let's keep playing.
Some really good parties. Listen, he ran his parties where people, if you didn't show up dressed, you wouldn't get in. So he never had those kind of problems. However, like I said, some of the events that he did brought out a lot of celebrities and a lot of people, but it also brought out a lot of police too, because we had to watch and see who was coming and to make sure that there's no violence or no problems at some of these events that he threw.
I hear you there. What I can't get over is how, and you know this better than anybody from law enforcement, right? You never get caught cheating on your wife the first time. You never get caught drunk driving the first time, right?
Right.
If these allegations are true, they go back a long time. You listen to what Usher said. You listen to what Justin Bieber said. How are we to believe that none of these celebrities, that law enforcement, that nobody had any idea of, if true, this really horrific behavior?
Well, if these allegations were true back then, a lot of people weren't going to come forward and talk. See, with the police department, we need cooperation. If you don't have cooperation or people that come forward and make complaints, then you don't really have a case. There's not really far you can go.
How long do you think till he ends up in handcuffs?
I'm sorry?
How long till you think he ends up in handcuffs?
How long did he end up in handcuffs?
No, yeah, how long till it happens, you think?
That's going to be probably soon. I would say the way the case is going right now, yes. I think they're going to have an indictment soon.
And you think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to have to answer some uncomfortable questions about what they saw, what they knew, and if they did anything to cover it up. Detective, it's good to see you. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you for having me.
Crazier and crazier. All right, now let's go to about the drug mule. We heard about the drug mule today. Supposedly, P. Diddy's drug mule got arrested. Let's play that, and then we're going to do a little poll here, and then we'll go on to the next segment, and I'm going to let you all decide where we go with this live tonight. All right, let's play this.
This noon with the very latest on Diddy after his homes were raided by federal agents in Los Angeles as well as Star Island.
And we're now seeing body camera video after a member of his entourage was arrested here in South Florida. Local 10 News reporter Annalise Garcia is live in Miami Beach with the details. Annalise.
Hey, Chrissy, Syra. So that's not all. Some new documents were released today in a civil suit that were amended this morning, and it involves some serious allegations, including sex trafficking, drugs, guns, not only against Diddy, but against his son, that alleged mule that you were just talking about, and another superstar, Cuba Gooding Jr. But again, the new piece.
I guess there was some reports about all the cameras that were found inside of the house, that there was hidden cameras everywhere in that Hollywood home, and that they said that they actually have a lot of, I forget the word was, compromising video footage of celebrities and music artists and stuff like that. I mean, this comes into pornography. You know, if this is recorded of like sex acts, that's like illegal pornography of people. That it carries some big charges. I said, this story just keeps getting wilder and wilder every time I look at it. All right, let's keep playing here about the drug mule.
To this puzzle here visually is that body camera video.
Crazy.
Let's take you over to that video so you can see for yourself. Now, this is Brendan Paul. He was arrested for possession of cocaine and marijuana gummies, and this is unrelated to that larger investigation by the feds, but Paul is named one of several civil lawsuits filed against Diddy as a drug mule working for the music mogul. So this arrest that you're seeing is separate from all of that. It's for possession of these drugs, marijuana and cocaine. So now over at Diddy's home, still no sight of him all morning long. Thursday morning, a similar scene outside of Sean Diddy Combs' home as days prior. A black SUV blocking the driveway with umbrellas open to conceal the home. Our cameras rolling as Diddy's private jet is taxied away at Opa-locka's airport, yet still no sign of the superstar days after federal agents raided both his LA and Miami homes. The attention comes after both East and West Coast homes of 54-year-old were raided by federal agents simultaneously. The New York native, part of a sex trafficking investigation headed by NYC federal prosecutors. This comes after a series of civil lawsuits from former girlfriends and a music producer that worked with the music mogul. In a late February civil suit filed 73 pages alleging misconduct by the star and associates of underage sex trafficking, drug-fueled sex abuse, intimidation, and violence. So we've learned that those warrants have not been unsealed just yet. The ones that these feds went over to the home, those warrants are the ones that have not been unsealed. We also know that Combs still has his passport and he is still denying any wrongdoing. As soon as we get any update and more detail here, we'll be sure to bring that to you. For now, we're live on Miami Beach. And Elise Garcia, Local 10 News.
All right, Local 10 there in Miami. Okay, now we got, let's see. Let's play this one first. Oh, what should we play? What should we play? What should we play? Let's play Sidebar. Let's play Sidebar. All right, let's hear the allegations. Oh, nope, not that one. Let's see. I want to play the Sidebar with Jesse Weber. Here we go. Let's play this one first. All right.
The album is called Love is getting a lot of hate right now.
Yeah,
This,
I think I would say
authorities have raided 2 properties linked to him, one on each coast. Sean Combs appears to be part of an investigation into a sex trafficking operation. And of course, this comes as he faces multiple lawsuits that accuse him of assault and abuse. He denies it all.
I want to thank everybody for coming in the stream, all the peeps that just entered the room. Please make sure to smash the like it button down there below. It helps push this stream out in that evil YouTube algorithm. I've been fighting with YouTube a lot over the last couple of days, and I'm going to have some information coming out on Twitter probably after tonight's stream or tomorrow morning to why they've demonetized one of my streams, and I completely disagree with them. I've fought with YouTube over the last 2 days about it, and they demonetized my stream, one of my streams, because I showed an arm with an injury on it. I showed an arm with an injury on it. And it wasn't even something that I pulled up. It was in a video that I was sharing, and it literally was on screen less than 30 seconds. And I reached out to YouTube and I said, why is this stream or this video being demonetized? Why can I not make money off this? And they finally came back and gave me the timestamp in the video, because I asked them, like, this is the thing. You limit us, but you never give us the timestamp, so we can't go back and understand where we made the policy violation. So I called them out on Twitter. I finally got in touch with someone in their customer service department or their policy violation department. They told me the infraction. I literally cut the 1:30 out of the video, the injury. It was an injury to John O'Keefe's arm. It was on screen for less than 1:30 seconds. I literally trimmed the video and cut it out. I said, I've gone ahead and cut the portion of the video out that was the said policy violation. You know what they tell me? Oh, well, we've already reviewed it twice, so there's no way that you can remonetize that stream. It's the most ridiculous policy and the most ridiculous answer that I've ever gotten from someone in the YouTube violation policy. The thing that cracks me up is the shit that they allow on this platform that goes beyond something of just showing an injury on someone's, and it's not even that violent. It's nothing violent, even more violent than something that you would see in a horror movie. Yes, It's a real injury to someone's arm. Yes, it's a key piece of evidence in a case. But they show much more violent acts. And there's videos that show war and people getting blown apart that are allowed on this platform. But because I showed someone's arm that had an injury on it, they demonetize my video. How does that make sense, YouTube? How does that make sense? You allow war footage. You allow people getting blown up. We've seen all the stuff that's gone on in Russia. We've seen all the stuff that's gone on in Ukraine. They show dead bodies all the time on the news. On this platform, the mainstream media can put bodies, dead bodies, on video and show that to the public. People rotting and blown up is perfectly fine. And I'm telling you, they're making money off those streams. They're making money off those videos. But because I showed someone's arm like this with an injury to it, my stream gets demonetized. How does that make sense? How does that make sense, YouTube? I want someone to explain that, please. All right, let's go on with Diddy.
Bring you the latest details to drop in connection
Rumble
with Diddy
sucks.
and the
I'm
massive
gonna tell you right now.
investigation.
I stream on Rumble. You know how many people are gonna watch me? 3 people. 3 people are gonna watch me on Rumble. It's an unusable platform, and the only thing that's gonna happen on Rumble that gets any type of traction is political commentary over there. And I'm gonna tell you, some of the biggest people that are on YouTube, Ben Shapiro, Crowder, all them. Okay, I've even gone over and watched the views on their accounts in Rumble. It's not even near a smidget of what they get on YouTube. Rumble sucks. I don't like Rumble. I've had a Rumble account quite a few times. It's a very androgynous platform to use. It's not user friendly, and it's a pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass.
The sidebar.
Fix your
presented by Law
platform,
and Crime.
Rumble. Let's get some
I'm Jesse Weber.
competition here with YouTube.
So we have been focusing very heavily on the Sean Diddy Combs story. I mean, what's interesting about this is we actually were focusing on it, 3-4 weeks ago. I did a very big sidebar on it where I broke down all of the latest
Oh, of course someone
lawsuits
reported it.
facing the rapper.
Of course someone reported it. It's all those Karen Reed, the Karen Reed haters. That's who reported it. But it shouldn't matter. If it goes into a manual review, it's not like I'm showing someone blown apart or their leg blown off or someone getting shot or someone getting blown up. Half the shit that you can see on YouTube. And those videos are fine. They're monetized. I show an injury on someone's arm that you can't even tell what it is because it's so small in the video. And I actually went back and trimmed the segment out and they said, nope, it's already gone to manual review twice. Sorry. But don't worry. I have tricks and I have tactics and I will get it back. All right, let's keep playing this.
Ogle, the purported billionaire. And at the time, we were really highlighting one of the big lawsuits that he was facing. A producer named Little Rod Jones had sued him for sexual harassment, sexual assault, was alleging absolutely horrendous things against him. And this is on the heels of other lawsuits. Remember, Cassie Ventura had filed a lawsuit against him. She settled the day after, but she accused him of rape and human trafficking. I mean, the worst stuff you can imagine. And then all of a sudden you fast forward and this week you see Diddy's name throughout the whole news. Why? Because federal agents raided properties that were connected to the rapper this past Monday. And it was reported that this is all in connection to an ongoing sex trafficking investigation. Now, to be clear, it has not been 100% confirmed by authorities if Combs is a target or subject of the investigation. Certain outlets are reporting that Combs is the target. What do I mean by that? Target is essentially the person that prosecutors have evidence against.
Yeah, you think?
One they're building a criminal case against. So if he's the target of the investigation, that is a very big deal. It is being reported that the search was pursuant to a search warrant issued through the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York. Need probable cause that a crime has been committed, gathering evidence in connection of that. And clearly, a federal judge signed off on this in order for these properties to be raided. And who are they raided by? Homeland Security carried out the raid Homeland Security focuses on human trafficking investigations, among other things. Now, NBC News reported that several people have been interviewed by federal authorities in connection to allegations of sex trafficking, sexual assault, solicitation, distribution of illegal narcotics and firearms. This is so eerily reminiscent and consistent.
I mean, I would guess they would have to get involved at some point. All these, private lawsuits have been filed against Diddy. It just starts to add up, and maybe the authorities said, "Gee, maybe it's time we start looking into this. Maybe there's something going on here. Maybe all these allegations and these private lawsuits are real." It's about time. We've heard all these rumors for a very long time.
Allegations from all of these high-profile lawsuits that I mentioned that were filed against Combs, his family, his businesses, his associates, sex trafficking, sexual harassment, sexual assault. It was a wild scene, though, at these properties. You saw agents swarming onto the properties, sometimes with guns drawn. We saw video of several individuals, including who appear to be Combs's sons, Justin and King, in handcuffs. Now, it seems like they were detained, not arrested. And at the time of this recording, it is not clear where Sean Combs is. There's been mixed reporting about his jet, his location. We don't really know. But what we do know is that at the time of this recording, neither he nor anyone else has been arrested or charged or indicted in connection with this operation. There are some updates, though, and those updates are what we want to talk about. So first up, there was this idea, as I mentioned, this probable cause, the search warrant signed by a judge. That's a very big deal. And we still don't know what exactly they're looking for. When you talk about sex trafficking, human trafficking, you're talking about bringing people across state lines for sexual activities, for commercial profit. Commercial sex acts is another way to say it. And so what they might be looking at, you might be looking at documents, you might be looking at computers, electronic devices. One of the things that stands out to me when I think about one of these prior lawsuits, Little Rod Jones, this producer, he alleged that Sean Combs has cameras in all of his homes, and these cameras captured a lot of this illicit behavior as a form of blackmail. So was it possible they were looking at the camera systems? We just don't know. But one of the big updates that I have to talk about is this statement from Combs's attorney, Aaron Dyer. This statement reads, and it was from yesterday. It says, quote, "Yesterday, there was a gross overuse of military-level force as search warrants were executed at Mr. Combs' residences. There is no excuse for the excessive show of force and hostility exhibited by authorities or the way his children and employees were treated. Mr. Combs was never detained, but spoke to and cooperated with authorities. Despite media speculation, neither Mr. Combs nor any of his family members have been arrested, nor has their ability to travel been restricted in any way. This unprecedented ambush, paired with an advanced coordinated..."
It is kind of interesting, though, isn't it? They go in and raid the house, trash the whole house, raid, get evidence, but no one gets arrested. That is odd. I would have thought there would have been some arrests. What do y'all think about that? You think that's a little odd? Why would they come in and just raid and not arrest anybody?
Media presence leads to a premature rush to judgment of Mr. Combs and is nothing more than a witch hunt based on meritless accusations made in civil lawsuits. There has been no finding of criminal or civil liability with any of these allegations. Mr. Combs is innocent and will continue to fight every single day to clear his name. A lot of things to break down for this one. Number one, yes, he hasn't currently been charged with anything. The civil cases, one settled, the other ones are still ongoing. So he has not been found liable. That is all true. That could change. Is it premature to call this a witch hunt? Possibly.
So they weren't arrested. They were detained. They were detained and let go. They weren't arrested. They were detained during the raid.
One of the things that I've noted is that you could say it's unique that indictments, arrests have not come in conjunction with a massive raid like this. Sometimes, usually they do, but other times they don't. You need to build a case. And you hear this idea about perhaps that
I did see
federal
that.
authorities have spoken with a number
I'm not going to play the footage. It may be in one of the upcoming videos, but I know TMZ is going to nail us on it because they're dicks like that. But I did get to see the footage, and it was crazy. I mean, they ransacked the house. I wonder if I can find some photos of it. I probably can find it. All right, let's keep playing. I'll see if I
Individuals
can work
that
on
might
the
have
photos.
given them probable cause to then go for the search warrant to find more information. We've interviewed Tracy Walder, former FBI CIA agent, who said that you go into these properties, this raid, one of the things you needed to do was to actually retain evidence, make sure it's not destroyed. Perhaps their authorities were tipped off that evidence was about to be destroyed. Not clear. But the idea of this military level force I thought was so interesting because we have to remember, again, going back to the lawsuits, again, these are lawsuits, these are allegations, different standard. We're not talking about a criminal case. But when we talk about that and we look at the allegations in these lawsuits, there has been allegations of firearms possession, that Diddy forced his associates to carry weapons for him. There was a shooting that was referenced, 2 shootings. Let me rephrase, 2 shootings were referenced in that Little Rod Jones lawsuit where Diddy engaged in this or allegedly engaged in this and then had people cover up for him. So with those thoughts in mind, and you're looking at how big these properties are, it is not surprising that you see this level of force. Authorities don't know what they're going into, and they have to detain people, bring them outside, not only for their safety, but for the safety of the people they detained as well as they're going into these properties. So the level of military force, you could argue, was justified. They mentioned that these electronics were seized. We don't know what the
Looking for
contents
the
of them are.
photos
We don't
right
know
now.
exactly what they're looking for, but
There's
that
a
digital
video of
footprint,
it,
as we've
but
covered in a
I
number
can't
of
play
cases,
it.
can be quite
It'll
substantial.
whack me.
And ABC has reported that agents seized a number of electronic devices. It's a lot of legal
That's
issues
not
surrounding the
good.
Diddy case. Makes you think about how important it is to have a great lawyer, right? Well, that is especially true in personal injury cases, which can be very, very tough to navigate. But enter Morgan & Morgan, America's...
All right, I'm going to pause this real quick. I'll show you a photo of the inside. I'm not going to play the video because I know TMZ is going to whack me. But right here, here's the inside of the house. Look at this. Oh, I'm not going to play it. Don't do it, man. From TMZ. Look at this. Look at that. It's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. See if there's any more. That was his son's being detained. More outside. All right, let me go back to law and crime. I'm going to just speed up through the commercial. Here we go. All right, we're going to do this, and then I got another segment I want to play, and I'm going to let you vote and pick what segment we watch. All right, let's keep playing.
Yes, in connection with the sex trafficking investigation. However, there was an arrest of a man named Brendan Paul, someone who is alleged to be Combs' drug mule, alleged that he supplied him with these illicit substances. This is, I believe, an allegation in the Little Rod Jones lawsuit. Well, he was arrested for cocaine and marijuana possession out in Florida, I believe at the airport. He has been bailed out. Just a little interesting detail about that. Now, his attorney, Brian Bieber, issued a statement to CNN. The statement says, quote, "We do not plan on trying this case in the media. All issues will be dealt with."
All right, Scott.
Interesting. Also want to talk about the arrests here. So again, there's been no arrests, but there could have been false speculation. There could have been rumors that Diddy's sons, Justin and King, were arrested. They were handcuffed outside of the LA property during the raid. No indication they were arrested. TMZ actually reported that they came back to the home to move things out. When we first saw the images of this, I was reminded that his son, one of his sons, was implicated in wrongdoing in a lot of these illicit acts by Little Rod Jones in that lawsuit.
No,
that
good.
One of his sons was involved in a shooting at a music studio, that his son was present during a party where minor underage women were present. So when I first saw the images of them in handcuffs, you could make the mental leap that they were possibly arrested, but that is not the case. They were just detained. Now, I also want to highlight something that was a little disturbing. So when this happened, this raid happened, apparently some guy shows up outside of the raid in LA, claims to be Diddy's neighbor, tells reporters that he was noticing some shady things going down with Diddy, said he saw some wild things at night. It was reported on, it was amplified, it was circulated around. Turns out that may not even be true, that he may not even be a neighbor. I have to highlight this when we're talking about a high-profile person like Diddy, okay? Rumors, speculation, misinformation is going to happen. And we have to be careful of that. We have to be mindful of that. And in a legal point of view,
you're right,
when you
Patty.
talk about Diddy and his cases, one of the things he has said in the past about all of these lawsuits is that it's a chain
Keep
reaction.
the alleged
One person comes out,
contained.
another person comes out, another person comes out. It's a money grab. They're making things up. That could very well be true, but it could also be that they're telling the truth. So we have to always keep a mindful eye about people's motivations and why they're going to be coming out during this time. Let's always remember.
All right, real quick, I'm going to post a poll at the top. Now, the next segment we play, do you want to watch Vinny from Court TV or do you want to watch Nancy Grace? You all vote at the top, and I will play the next segment. We'll see what you all vote. We got another 2 minutes with the vote open, 2.5 minutes. Let's have you keep voting, and then you will pick who we watch next. All right, let's keep playing this.
Remember that. And talking about that, let's talk about the celebrity reaction. So there are some celebrities who have made comments about this raid, including Cassie Ventura, whose lawsuit really blew open the whole thing for the public. She accused Combs, as I said, for years of abuse, assault, rape, trafficking. The events she described in her lawsuit were horrific. And one day after she filed it, Combs settled. Those details were confidential. But Douglas Wigdor, who represents Ms. Ventura, as well as a Jane Doe that filed claims against Combs, said in a statement, quote, "We will always support law enforcement when it seeks to prosecute those that have violated the law. Hopefully, this is the beginning of a process that will hold Mr. Combs responsible for his depraved conduct. Even when you settle a case, those individuals could still cooperate with law enforcement. And I got the impression that after the Ventura settlement, it was never absolving Combs of wrongdoing. So let's be clear of that. There are others who have had beef with Sean Combs in the past. He has a long-standing public feud with fellow rapper 50 Cent, who after the raid posted on Instagram, "Now it's not Diddy Do It, it's Diddy Done."
Diddy Do It, Diddy Done It.
Documentary series that he's trying to put forward, the Diddy Do It. But he goes, "It's Diddy Done. They don't come like that unless they got a case." Since then, he's posted several memes mocking Diddy's legal troubles. He also said Diddy was, quote, "too freaky for society." And then we have Aubrey O'Day. She also commented on the raids. Now, Combs helped launch her music career in the early 2000s on his reality show, Making the Band 3. She joined a group that became known as Danity Kane. But in later seasons of the show, O'Day was dismissed from the group, with Combs saying, quote, "She wasn't the same person he signed. That fame had changed her." But in a podcast in 2022, O'Day revealed that she was fired because, quote, "she wasn't willing to do what was expected of her, not talent-wise, but in other areas."
Nice.
Well, after the raids on Combs' home, O'Day posted, quote, "What you sow, you shall reap. I pray this emboldens all of us victims to finally speak on
Interesting.
what we have endured." That is quite the statement.
Interesting.
All right, so those are some developments. We will continue to follow.
Very, very interesting. All right, Jesse Weber with sidebar, Lauren Crime. Okay, let's take a look at the poll. Uh-oh, looks like we're going to watch Vinny. 53 votes. Thank you all so much. Nancy Grace, you're out. We're going to go to Vinny. Vinny. All right, on to Vinny. No, Nancy Grace gets a back seat here. All right, we're going to finish this up with a little Vinny. Let's go.
Scale raid. Federal Homeland. It was a full-scale raid. Federal Homeland Security, with the help of local law enforcement, executing 2 searches in 2 cities at the same time. 2 sprawling luxury mansions belonging to one of the most successful hip-hop moguls in the world, Sean Diddy Combs. Federal authorities say the searches are part of an ongoing sex trafficking investigation. The impact of this was immediate, an explosion on social media and in the news. Then the big question, where's Diddy? His lawyer criticized this enormous show of force and proclaimed Diddy's innocence. But this is not the first time his name has been associated with allegations of sex trafficking. In February, Diddy was sued civilly by a producer known as Lil Rod, Rodney Jones, who worked on Diddy's 2023 release entitled The Love Album, Off the Grid. In his suit, Jones makes claims of being sexually assaulted by Diddy and being groomed by Diddy to be passed off to his friends, including Cuba Gooding Jr. Diddy has denied all the allegations. Tonight, we get the latest in this ongoing investigation, then take a look at Diddy's reputation and what would cause this type of alleged behavior. And then we'll look at the legal road ahead for Diddy as we speak with R. Kelly's former lawyer.
I know what I forgot to tell you all. Listen to this. For all my Karen Reed supporters and y'all who watch me doing Karen Reed, following the Karen Reed case and the Karen Reed streams. So I'm at work today and I see someone and they have a district court, what did it say? Civil, or it just said district court on it. And it was a zippy. And I looked at them and I said, "Oh, do you work for one of the courts in and around the area?" They're like, "Yeah, I work for Dedham Superior." And I said, "Oh," so I didn't say anything. And then it got kind of quiet for a second. And I looked at her and I said, "Oh, the only reason I said is because I do a true crime podcast." She goes, "Oh, the Karen Reed case? That's the biggest case that we have going on in the court right now." But she didn't say anything after that. It was kind of funny though. I was like, "Oh," I'm like, "You're probably wondering why I asked you." And I said, "Because I do a true crime podcast." She's like, "Oh, the Karen Reed case? That's our biggest case right now in the court system." I thought that was crazy.
As we investigate the allegations against Diddy. I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. This story is huge. It is absolutely huge. The explosion on social media. Everyone is talking about it. People are digging up old videos, looking at them in a different way, and trying to figure out what's going on here. But I want to start tonight talking about another story. And this is a story that never ends. The story of Jeffrey Epstein. And when he first got in trouble, it really wasn't a big deal because no one knew who he was. He wasn't a celebrity by any means, just a really rich guy who seemed to get and slither his way out of getting into real trouble the first time around. But then things got much more serious for him. And there were civil lawsuits, and then finally real charges and a real criminal investigation.
Epstein didn't kill himself.
And despite the fact that Jeffrey Epstein is no longer alive, that story is not ending because of who he was, the level of power, money, and influence, and people that he associated with. And there are still questions tonight about this story and this case. And the bottom line, when you think of Jeffrey Epstein, I mean, this guy was a weird billionaire. That's who he was. He's a freak. Also a predator, but like strange, very, very strange, and lived in some really like bizarre fantasy world that no one would ever want to be a part of. No normal person would be a part of, but he created it for himself. And when you think about who he was and what he did, you wonder if all along the motivation to obtain that level of power was to be able to do what he was doing, acting as a predator and seemingly being able to do it for years.
Have you ever seen his house? That house on the island? Have you ever seen that weird thing? It has like that big it's like it's odd. It's this is the house. Look at this thing. There's been YouTubers that have gone out there and actually got in on the island. They have private security there still, but they've actually like got up on the island for a few minutes and filmed around there. It's the craziest thing. Look at this thing. It's odd. Look at this. What is that thing? And this is supposedly what it looks like inside. It's crazy. Super crazy. All right, let's go back to Vinny.
Without being bothered, without being touched. Just plow ahead with your money, power, and influence and connections. And was that the motivating factor that drove him to his financial success? Did it play a role in all of it? Like, is that why? Is that why? Or did he become wealthy and then get weird? It's hard to say, but it's something we're going to talk about tonight. Because what we're talking about is this raid now on the homes of Sean Diddy Combs. And from my perspective, this is just the beginning of this story. You know, from the legal perspective in a criminal investigation, it's the beginning. It's a search for an ongoing investigation. That's what we've been told. But, you know, there have been civil lawsuits. And when there are civil lawsuits against celebrities with lots of money, obviously we pay attention to them. But oftentimes I look at them, I said, number one, there's never going to be a trial. We know there's going to be some form of a settlement and everything will be secret. So while I pay attention to them, I don't pay as much attention to civil lawsuits as I do criminal investigations because of the nature of them. But sometimes the two intersect, as in Jeffrey Epstein's case, and as may very well be happening here, because there were a series of civil lawsuits, and there was one in February by Rodney Jones that mentioned and alleges sex trafficking. And then like a month later, there are raids on his homes. Is this a coincidence? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think there's a connection here, an absolute connection, that one can lead to the other. And there's going to be some intersection. So tonight, we're going to pay a lot more attention to that civil lawsuit because of the potential nexus to this criminal investigation and this raid, this search and seizure of the property of Sean Diddy Combs. And then we have to look at it and say, well, wait a minute, like with this investigation going, and it can go one way or the other, we understand, it could end up with nothing and no charges, but if this leads to charges and more allegations and people coming forward and witnesses and trials, I mean, are we going to find out, like, is Diddy a weird billionaire? Did he be?
I've talked about this before. You get to a certain point when you have everything and you've done everything, and then these people just live out their ultimate fantasies. You know, what is the craziest shit that I can think of? What is the craziest thing I can do now? I can have anything at my fingertips. I can pay anybody amount of money to do whatever. Probably. Yeah, he probably is some weird billionaire.
Become wealthy? Was this what drove him to his success, to live this type of life that's alleged here in the civil case? Or did all the money and the power put him in a place where all of a sudden he starts doing things that just are way against the norms of society, especially if someone of his level of success? But we've seen it before. So I think these are fair questions that people are asking tonight. But we have to remember where we are. He's not been accused of a crime. He's been sued civilly. There's a search, but there's no indictment. But it is an ongoing investigation connected to the raids on his homes. So let's dig tonight, because one raid's taking place in LA, another one's taking place in Miami. Beautiful homes in both places, but spread out. So we're going to get some help tonight from both cities. Joining me tonight in Miami, Florida, federal court reporter for the Miami Herald, Jay Weaver, is with us, and also joining us in Los Angeles, California, entertainment reporter for the Associated Press, Andrew Dalton. Great to have you both here. Jay, let me begin with you. The big question, I think, first, like, where is Diddy and where was Diddy when all this was happening? What do we know?
Well, both very good questions. Thanks for having me on the show. So, Diddy and his entourage were preparing to leave from Opa-locka Airport. It's a small executive airport in Miami-Dade County, a few miles from the exclusive, Tony World of Star Island, where Diddy owns 2 homes. And at the time that the raid happened, there were 4 staffers, at the home who were escorted out in handcuffs for safety purposes. They cleared the home, they questioned them, they let them go. Simultaneously, over at the airport, there were Homeland Security investigations agents that were, looking at his plane, talking with people in his entourage and talking with him. And they eventually took a look at the airplane, the private chartered airplane, and they ended up finding some cocaine and some cannabis-laced candy. They brought in the local police, the county police, and a guy named Brendan Paul, described as a mule in that lawsuit that you cited in your introduction. And he is a guy that, supposedly has bought drugs.
And that guy just got arrested too. They just arrested him.
And not bought drugs, but distributed drugs and guns for Diddy. And this is according to the allegations in Little Rod's lawsuit. So Diddy was preparing to leave, to go to Bahamas and then eventually to Antigua with his group, including some family members believed to be his daughters. And that's how it went down. I mean, HSI investigators did talk with him, but they didn't detain him because, that this, as you said, is the beginning of an investigation, starting with the search of the home on Star Island. There are 2 homes there, but they only had a search warrant for one of them because the other one didn't have any probable cause related to the crime. Only one of the homes did. And the warrant was for the usual stuff, electronics, things of that nature, and they're looking to build, the foundation of a case, if you will, against him, dealing with allegations of sex trafficking, particularly with minors. I don't think the issue of Diddy, soliciting or hiring adult women or people who are over 18 are going to be such an issue unless he coerced them and threatened them into having sex with him. And that could be problematic, of course, under the law. But I think the greater liability for him is whether there's evidence pointing to his recruiting through his staff or himself or his associates, underage girls and or boys for that matter. And that's really what Homeland Security agents are looking at in Miami and Los Angeles and of course in New York, where the case is being directed by the Southern District of New York.
Andrew, from your perspective, you're out there in Hollywood. Was this, we knew about the lawsuit that had been filed, but was this a surprise to you? And what was the reaction locally? And what details can you tell us about what happened out in Los Angeles?
It did feel just like a huge escalation. These Homeland Security agents that investigate things like make raids on immigrant houses and on seek out terrorists and things. So the fact that it was Homeland Security certainly felt like a huge escalation. Although most of these lawsuits that have been filed against him, going back to the one from his protege Cassie back in November, have been federal lawsuits that alleged some form of sex trafficking. Now that one in November, which was settled within 24 hours, is the fastest I've ever seen a suit settled, did allege that he trafficked her, but it was a lot of stuff in the past and the allegations weren't quite so strong. So this one in February from Rodney Jones was the one that was really powerful. Just read like a laundry list of crimes that the feds could investigate. So it was definitely, the news helicopters were over it really quickly here. I mean, it was quite a scene, Diddy and his attorney decried sort of the military style look of the raid, and it certainly did look that way with this huge command center and agents in body armor and things like that. So it was a heck of a spectacle in Holmby Hills, which is a part of this wealthy triangle along with Bel Air and Beverly Hills here.
Jay, he has 2 homes now on Star Island, which, you know, is mind-boggling to think of, you know, just having 1 home there, but he's got 2 there, right? How much a part of the community and entourage, and because, you know, Miami is like extremely expensive and popular these days. Is Diddy kind of known as being like part of that city now, or is that relatively a new development?
We're always live. We're always live. 99% of the videos or material that comes out on my channel is live. That's why it's called LTL, which stands for Let's Talk Live. So if you're here now, we are live and in the moment. Live and in the moment. All right, let's keep playing. He does look like Richard Gere, doesn't he? This guy right here looks like Richard Gere. This guy kind of looks like Robert De Niro a little bit.
No. You know, Miami, in deference to Andrew, Miami is a mini LA. And Miami Beach in particular attracts a lot of stars. And Star Island, as it's aptly called, is home to a lot of stars. In fact, one of the homes that Diddy bought more recently in 2021 was a home previously owned by Gloria Estefan and her husband, Emilio. And so, you know, that was the home he bought in 2021. But the one that got raided, he had bought back in 2001. And he, you know, got it for a bargain back then because real estate in Miami.
Your account right now that you're on is the member account. That's what that little insignia there is next to your name. So that means that you are that level member. Carry in. That is the member account. You were on it.
Wasn't quite as you know, through the roof as it is today. And so that's where he's been living. That's a resort style home, you know, very spacious, you know, and it has a resort like feeling, as all the homes do on that island. And you know, they have beautiful views of Biscayne Bay and, you know, in the city of Miami skyline and Miami Beach, depending on where you're situated on the island. And it's a party crib, basically, to use the, you know, lingo of this world in which he circulates. And, you know, there are obviously drugs, there are obviously guns, there are obviously, you know, a lot of illicit things going on behind closed doors. But in Miami, as in Los Angeles, it's par for the course. And, you know, he's just one of many celebrities who have been hanging out here, from the Miami Vice Don Johnson days to Shaquille O'Neal when he was a Miami Heat center, you know, to Sly Stallone. I mean, even Madonna had a home here at one time. So this is kind of like LA light, if you will. And it's become a little bit more robust in recent years, in the post-COVID years, you know, with the international crowd and the star crowd and all of that. It's not
nice
LA,
to see you here, Ron.
but it does attract its share of
brother from another mother.
Now, the other thing that's happening is, as I mentioned, on social media, you're seeing videos resurfacing. Now,
You've been around for a long time, Ron. I gotta say, probably close to a year, right? Am I right on that? Probably close to a year.
Artist, you know him, Usher, from the Super Bowl, has been tied to Diddy since the start of his career. And in 2016, during an interview with Howard Stern, Usher recounted living with Combs for a year when he was just 13. They called the experience going to Puffy Flavor Camp. Take a listen.
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I mean, but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, you know, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place. And I didn't necessarily understand it.
All right.
Okay.
Andrew, let me ask you, is there pressure or is there any chatter about people in that circle, in Diddy's circle, to now speak publicly, you know, one way or the other about him, or is everyone kind of keeping quiet? Because, I mean, this is the story right now.
It absolutely is. I mean, he has a very, he has a very sort of tight entourage of people loyal to him. And so there hasn't been a lot of chatter from really within his group. It's been people who passed through, like Usher there, who have talked about him in this way. And, he's done a good job, like a lot of people who sort of come up from the harder edge of rap and cultivating an image that is a lot more, a lot softer. I mean, he's not on like the Snoop Dogg level where he's doing cooking shows and things like that. But, he poses more as a businessman. But he's a father of 7 children, several of whom lost their mother a few years ago. And so, that sort of, father CEO image is what he's been able to project the last few years. And this certainly puts a dent in that and has everyone looking, I'm reminded of Harvey Weinstein and every sort of, every look at everything everyone said about him, in the years before, and all these past statements from people and jokes from people suddenly had a lot more resonance.
Absolutely. And Jay, you look at the civil lawsuit, there's a mention of the children in the civil lawsuit.
Right. The thing that's interesting about civil lawsuits, as you said in your preamble to the show, is that, they can be breadcrumbs for.
He gets this $4.99er. Carrie Ann says, thank you so much, Brian. I'm praying for your studio and so glad you're covering this. This is my generation and music, and my heart is broken. Yeah, it sucks. I mean, I get it. You don't want to see, I wouldn't say like Diddy was a hero of mine, but he was that era of music that had a very influential took part of a very I'll get this out, was very influential in that time in hip hop music, the late 90s to early 2000s. I mean, where didn't you see Diddy's name? It was everywhere. It was a megastar and did very well for himself. He's a billionaire, and it's crazy. I don't know. They say it's surprising when you see things about your heroes in these situations. I'm sure a lot of people's mouths have dropped, but it doesn't surprise me. Nothing really surprises me anymore in the entertainment business or Hollywood. It doesn't surprise me. People laughed at Corey Feldman for years about stuff like this. All the stuff that went on at Nickelodeon, all the stuff that went on film sets back in the 80s, with all those children and all what was going on. People laughed at Corey Feldman. And the funny thing is, he was right. He was right. And it wasn't even so right. He was so right about all of this stuff. It was happening, and it did happen. And there's been, rumors of just even women back in like the 30s and 40s and 50s getting into movies, the things that they've had to do, and how Hollywood and directors and other actors exploited women to get parts in movies. It doesn't surprise me. It literally doesn't surprise me. And I'm sure that men have had to do things with high-powered people that are inside, that hold all the keys to the mega houses to get you those production deals and get you into certain movies and money and stuff like that. How many men have had to probably do things? You could have someone like a Harvey Weinstein that literally looks at, like, and I'm just saying this, hypothetically speaking, let's say Harvey Weinstein looks at Dad Pitt and says, hey, you can get on this part if you do X, Y, and Z, and I'll pay you $20 million. I'm not saying that happened, but things like that do happen. So it doesn't surprise me. It's crazy. And it's crazy what people will do for money. It really is. When you have all that money that's flashed in front of you, and you don't come from money, and you haven't been around money, and someone says, hey, I'm going to give you $1 million if you do X, Y, Z. It's tempting. All right, let's keep playing here.
For prosecutors and investigators. And, what's really striking, in my opinion, of all the lawsuits is the one filed by Little Rod, because there's a line in there that basically says there's irrefutable evidence of Diddy, applying,
Let's just check in here. A mule says it's all true. I worked at a recording studio plus talked with lots of musicians and celebrities through the years. Many have told me to get it gets boring having so many women all the time, so they just end up with men and plus freaky stuff. It doesn't surprise me. I don't care what people do in their lifestyle. I mean, that's what you want to do. That's your own business. I don't care, but I'm just saying this stuff happens. It totally happens.
Young women, underage women with alcohol, with alcohol-laced drugs, for the purposes of having sex with them. And, that's a pretty strong accusation. And that's the sort of accusation that is going to catch the eye of investigators. That said, how do you prove that the drinks were laced with drugs? How do you prove, that these women were underage? How do you track them down? There are a lot of loose ends to this case, and the search warrant is going to be an effort to find things like, financial records, payments, video, social media posts,
Could be Paula,
text messages, emails that point to any of this activity to recruit any of these underage women. And then you have to track them down. So, it's going to be weeks and months before we see this case come to fruition, if it does, and there's a big if. The Epstein case had its own zigs and zags, which, I won't digress on because it's a long story. But the reality is, the feds punted on that federal prosecution and gave it to state prosecutors. And they ended up doing a prostitution solicitation case. And it was a scandal eventually, not right away.
Right.
It took years for that scandal to blow up. And it coincided with the Me Too movement. And society changed, culture changed. And so Diddy has the, misfortune, I'm not suggesting this in any kind of defensive way, but he has the misfortune of having these accusations come forward in the aftermath of the Me Too movement.
Absolutely. It was a game changer in all these cases. Andrew, what's the biggest question you have tonight?
Boy, just what's next? I mean, Jay was right that it doesn't necessarily mean anything. I mean, we've seen criminal investigations of so many figures in the Me Too era. Marilyn Manson jumps to mind, where, on a much smaller scale, there were similar raids and similar allegations, and that investigation, while not closed yet, doesn't seem to be leading anywhere. So what have they got, I guess, is the biggest question.
All right. Great information today. I'm glad we had both coasts covered here. Jay Weaver down in Miami, Andrew Dalton, AP, Jay Weaver with the Miami Herald, and Andrew obviously out in LA. Thank you both so much. Really do appreciate it. When we come back, we're going to go through that civil lawsuit. Wait till you hear the specifics of some of these allegations, and we'll try to figure out what they mean. Plus, coming up next hour. In Boise.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier, Lady Law. I said all these private lawsuits, these civil lawsuits. I think once all that stuff's happened, I think the authorities, the police in this case, say, hey, you know what? Maybe we should probably start looking into some of this stuff. Let's peel back the layers here. I'm gonna just fast forward this and get back to the Diddy. Here we go. Diddy do it. Diddy not.
I run. Yeah, you do. Yeah. Little Rod ain't worth giving his kingdom to if we don't control his publishing. I can solve his efforts with 3 other human beings. He's eating at our table, and I like his backstory, but you need to have other people. It's hard to work with him unless we have his power. He's a piece of human, but we do not need his talent unless we can work with him.
That's from the Instagram account of Rodney Johnson called Lil Rod Made It. Little discrepancy about payment for money for work done, musical work done by Lil Rod for and with Diddy Combs. But now things are much different. It's not about publishing. It's not about royalties. It's not about being paid for that. He's filed a civil lawsuit. And in the civil lawsuit, he has made allegations. We're going to go through some of them, and they are relatively graphic, to say the least. Here's one of them. Mr. Jones was sexually harassed and assaulted by Mr. Combs throughout his time living with Mr. Combs. Mr. Jones was the victim of constant unsolicited and unauthorized groping and touching of his anus by Mr. Combs. In addition to the unsolicited and unauthorized touching, Mr. Jones was forced by Mr. Combs to work in Mr. Combs' bathroom as Mr. Combs walked around naked and showered in a clear glass enclosure. We've got a bunch of these. That's the first one. Let's bring in some guests, though. We're going to help work through this from a couple different perspectives. Joining me in Los Angeles, board-certified forensic psychiatrist, trial expert, witness, and columnist, Dr. Carol Lieberman. And in New York City, president of Reputation Dr. LLC, Mike Paul is with us. All right. Mike, I want to start with you because let's say that the civil case, settles, goes away. We never hear anything again about it. This raid happens and there's never any criminal charges, but all this stuff is played out. What happens to Diddy and his reputation? Does he get it back? Can he ever be where he, I guess, once was? What happens here?
That's a delay.
Well, that's an excellent question, and it also shows the huge difference between the court of law and the court of public opinion. What we think right now matters. In the court of public opinion, we have a verdict every minute of every day. We can twist, we can turn based on new information. But to answer your question, I think the consistency of a message over time, like a negative brand campaign, will impact us. I think the more important question is, how long will these allegations be in the news? How long will these allegations be word of mouth? How long will these allegations be in the world of social media, which is as important, and some even believe more important than traditional media these days, for people to have it seared in their mind, which is what branding is all about.
Now, Dr. Carol Lieberman, I'm going to read another one of these allegations. And again, these are like all over the place. It's really very different behavior. This one goes back to Thanksgiving of 2022. While using the restroom, young Miami's cousin burst into the bathroom and began groping Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones believes that Mr. Combs sent her in there to sexually assault Mr. Jones. According to Mr. Jones, as she entered the bathroom, she dropped to her knees and began performing oral sex on Mr. Jones' exposed private parts. Mr. Jones pushed her away and exited the bathroom.
Okay.
So, on the one hand, with Mike Paul, I was like, well, what if all this goes away, nothing happens? Now, on the other hand here, Dr. Carol Lieberman, if in fact these allegations are true, what does it tell us about the person who would do what is alleged in the walking around the bathroom and touching the other man's bottom parts and sending someone else in to perform an act? What type of person, what kind of mind does that? What would motivate someone to act that way?
Well, Sean Combs, Diddy, he has all these names, Puff Daddy, Sean Diddy Combs, all this. Anyway, we're talking about that man. It's not a surprise. I mean, we know that he has been using drugs for a long time. A lot of these allegations, actually from the women, go back for many years. Even it's not clear to me how many years these allegations are, but I mean, in other words, it's not like it just happened yesterday.
Well, the last one though, the one where he's alleged to have sent someone in to assault him is from Thanksgiving of 22. So that's pretty recent.
Okay. Yes. But I mean, there's a history of it. In other words, there's consistent behavior, consistent sexual behavior, sexual abuse, drugs, and so that kind of makes it more believable that it's not just one person claiming outrageous things, it's several people, and they're claiming basically similar things. Now, the part about where he's claiming that this woman was sent in to do this sex act on him, and he also talks about another sex act. He was saying that Diddy was giving him off to Cuba Gooding, and he locked him in a room. and that was because he was purposely moving him over, turning him off, turning him, moving him on. Not like, in other words, he was giving Cuba Gooding his remains. He wasn't interested in anymore. I think it's harder to prove that he did something that caused somebody else, whether it was the woman or Cuba or Cuba Gooding, that they were involved, that they were somehow made to do something. That I think is harder to prove.
Now, I want to read another of these allegations. According to Mr. Jones, he was transported from California to New York, Florida, St. Bart's, and the United States Virgin Islands throughout his time with Mr. Combs. According to Mr. Jones, during this time, Mr. Jones was forced to solicit sex workers and perform sex acts to the pleasure of
Probably
Mr.
won't ever sing
Combs.
again. I won't do that.
On or about February 4th, 2023. So this is just like recently. Mr. Combs forced Mr. Jones to bring prostitutes and sex workers back to his home in Miami, Florida. Mike Paul, Diddy's been silent so far on this, right? After the last lawsuit, he posted something, but he said nothing. Hasn't really shown himself publicly. Should he? Could he set the record straight? Could he convince the public at this point?
Who was that? Mr. Jones and me. That was Counting Crows, wasn't it?
Well, before I answer that, I want to comment on something that's obvious that we really haven't discussed, which is for many years, Diddy's reputation was being a womanizer. Now we've added to that, not just a womanizer, but potentially those that are less than legal, under the age of 18. Now, with the flurry that we've had this year, some knew this, but certainly more around the world are learning this. It appears he is either bisexual or interested in both men and women or boys and girls, allegedly. If that is true, and continuing on from your first question, that alone is going to keep this story in the minds of others as deep as the R. Kelly stories that we knew from the world of hip hop. Whether he is found guilty in the court of law or not, it's going to be difficult for him to go back with some fans who are learning this information about both males and females, boys and girls, allegedly, and him being in the midst of it. That alone, in the hip hop community, in the Black community, in communities all over the world, is a huge change from the branding that we had. Even recently with his new album coming out, there's
a lot of allegations about a lot of rappers being on the DL. I think there was someone, I watched a podcast somewhere where someone was talking about that on a podcast. Who was it? Who were they on? It was on, I think like Jake Paul or something. They had some guest on there and they were talking about like a lot of the rappers and athletes being on like the DL and stuff, like crazy. It doesn't surprise me. Everything is holly weird in that industry. All right, let's keep playing here.
Recently with him winning awards, even recently with him getting the key to the city of New York from the mayor of the city of New York, all of those people have to think about their reputations as well. Diddy's kids have to think about their reputations, but I think there's another huge thing that we could see happening with these cases. Now we're talking about sex workers. We have other stories, including those in politics, that have sex workers. They see that there's an opportunity on their truth for them to come out and be seen as better than just sex workers. That could potentially happen in this case. We have a drug mule who sadly has the same last name as me. When I saw it, I said, not my relative. He also is very close to Diddy. The feds did that on purpose. If he were in rooms and on trips to various places with both guns and sex trafficking, Diddy could be in very big trouble. And we know that this is something that the feds always do. I used to work for a U.S. senator. I'm very close to those that are in the federal government that are involved in investigations still over all these years. I've gotten some tips about this case already that people were texting me just before I came on. There's a lot of information. People are flipping. It's not all out yet. They have a lot more than we've learned about
Thank
to date.
you, Kelly. I
And
appreciate
the
it.
tentacles are going to continue to spread, and that's how the feds do what they do. They're using our taxpayers' dollars. They're in no hurry. And when they come in like that, that means they have a lot, and they're seeking a lot more and seeking to flip it.
One more I want to put up here of these allegations.
Go to the poll real quick. I asked, do you think the feds will investigate Diddy in the Biggie Smalls murder? 68% of you said yes. 31% of you said no. 150 people participated. Thank you so much. It'd be interesting to see what might come out of that too. All right, let's finish this up about another 10 minutes or so.
From this civil lawsuit again. According to Mr. Jones, during the introduction, Mr. Combs suggested that Cuba get to know Mr. Jones better. He then left them alone in a makeshift studio on the yacht. Cuba Gooding Jr. began touching, groping, and fondling Mr. Jones's legs, his upper inner thighs, near his groin, the small of his back, near his buttocks, and his shoulders. He rejected his advances, and Mr. Gooding Jr. did not stop until Mr. Jones forcibly pushed him away.
Everybody trying to get
it's
with
happening.
Jones.
The allegations here. It's happening on a yacht. Dr. Carol.
Everybody trying to get with Jones.
Carol Lieberman. Just put us in the mindset on how and why something like this could happen if it's true. All the allegations have been denied, but if this was true, like how does someone come up with this idea?
Ali Reza checking in says, "What's up, Ali? Long time no see. Good to see you. Hope things in 2024 are kicking off better for you. Longtime friend of the channel, longtime friend of myself." He says there is a reason they aren't saying that DHS ran point and center. The who partied and whose money went through Diddy's mule matters a lot of that than the alleged crimes to DHS. Great point. Great point. Excellent point.
Idea. Let's go out on the yacht, and then this is what we're going to do.
Yes, this is what I was referring to before, that it's a little harder to prove something like that in fact it was on purpose that Mr. Combs left them both in the room.
I wish you better health in 2024. Listen, I'm having my own thing going on too. I'm not going to get into it because my girlfriend will scream at me after I get off. She'll go, "Stop talking about it." But I have stuff going on too. We all do. We all do. And I think that's why we come here for the hour and a half, 2 hours, to get away from all those problems and relax a little bit at night and have conversations about common interests that we all, have in these crazy things that happen in our crazy world. I think this kind of takes us away from all that stuff. I know I can sit here and hang with all of you in the chat, and I love it. And it takes me away from all my problems for a good hour and a half to 2 hours a day. It's why I do this. It's why I love doing it. And I love entertaining people and just like having a bunch of friends. It's like a hangout, it's like a hangout. And that's what I've always loved about what we do here at LTL. It's just like one big giant hangout that we all have these common interests and curiosities, and we want to know, like what's going on, is it a conspiracy? Is it real? Did it happen? Didn't it happen? Are they involved? Did they do this? We love that. That's what our curious minds love, all of that stuff. So all good stuff. But I wish you great health, my friend. I really do. Stephanie says it's a good escape. It is a good escape. It is very, very good escape. I am very cuffed up. I'm very cuffed up, and I'm very happy. I'm extremely happy for the first time in a long time. A lot of good things have happened in my life in the last 2.5 months, and it's only getting better. So I can't wait. Can't wait to see what the future holds for this thing that we're doing here, this LTL True Crime. A lot of great things are coming, believe me. All right, let's get finished with the diddly do.
And also with all these drugs that everybody's taking who are associated with these people, with all these drugs, a lot of paranoia could be going on. So it's going to be very tricky to separate out the allegations from paranoid projections, that these people are claiming. Some of the allegations are going to be easier to prove. Well, if they did, allegedly, if they did happen, but some of them are going to be harder. But, I just want to say something about the breadth of the raids. It seems way over the top. Because especially since Mr. Combs wasn't even arrested, why did they have to make such a big show? And apparently the media was called to these things also.
Well, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
So we're all going to be talking about it. I mean, they're doing their own PR at the same time. Right. Big thank you. We're out of time for this segment, but obviously, as Mike told us, there's going to be a lot more happening here. So Dr. Carol Lieberman, thank you. Mike Paul, thank you. Great to see you.
So Ollie says, speaking of true crime, I tried a bag of Lay's ribeye flavored chips from Taiwan. Someone should have served time for that atrocity. Hey, man, I just had a birthday. I don't know if you know. I'm getting old. I just turned 46. I just turned 46 a year ago. A week ago. Look at this. I'm losing my mind. Just turned 46. I can't believe I'm fucking 46 years old. It's crazy. I'm getting closer to 50. This is nuts. Ron, I clicked up about I don't know, a few weeks ago, but this has been it's been going for about 2.5 months. But I'm officially clicked up now. She's gonna kill me because she's in the chat. But I'm super happy, man. Glad it happened. She supports me beyond support. And I support her in anything that she wants to do. All right.
When we come back, we will be joined by R. Kelly's former attorney, who will give us a look at what the legal road ahead looks like for Diddy.
So Ollie says, congrats on the cuffing. I'm trying to blowtorch my cuff off myself, but I still believe in the institution. I am in my 47th. Good luck to you, young man. Thank you. Yes, we are young, very young, and I'm very young at heart. And that's what keeps us free and fresh here. All right, let me just get through this commercial. Here we go.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, guys. We'll go on the record.
That's R&B superstar R. Kelly with his attorney at the time, Steve Greenberg, inside a courtroom in Illinois.
Oh, thank you.
R. Kelly had lots of cases across the country, state and federal. And the federal investigation that is taking place of Diddy is out of New York, like the federal investigation of R. Kelly. So we want to get some insight into what may be happening here. Special guest joining us from Chicago, the attorney who represented R. Kelly, Steve Greenberg. Steve, great to see you tonight. Thanks so much for joining us.
Lady Law, don't embarrass her.
Long time no see.
Yeah, been a while. 0 to 10, how concerned should Diddy be? How serious is what's happening right now?
12. This is far more concerning than what R. Kelly was facing. And look, it did not end very well for R.
Casey says, don't worry, Brian has to put up with me too. Yes, I have to put up with her. I'll leave your icon up on the screen. It's gonna kill me after the show. But this is my lovely lady here. This is my lovely lady. She is watching. All right.
R. Kelly. The allegations against Diddy involve, R. Kelly's case was a couple of women. It didn't involve bringing sex workers. It didn't involve the allegations of coast-to-coast things. It didn't involve importing women from out of the country. Already what's been leaked is far more salacious than the R. Kelly allegations. It didn't involve drug use. It sounds like there's allegations of violence, perhaps weapons involved.
And thanks for the gifting, bro. I appreciate it. All you are going to be able to watch all the behind-the-scenes footage when I take possession of my studio on Saturday, and you're all going to be able to watch the build, the frustration, the planning, We've already been planning behind the scenes. We just started getting furniture, and I cannot wait to get in there and start getting this studio together. I've spent a lot of my own money. That's why I laugh. You know, all these people come on here and they call us grifters and all this shit. If I would have told you what the bill is total, what I've put into my studio so far, your mouth would probably drop on the ground. And literally, I'm telling you, we don't make a lot of money here on YouTube. I don't make a lot of money, but I'm going to tell you, all the money that I make has gone back to get this out of my bedroom and get it into a studio. And literally, the money that I make just gets cycled and generates to pay my rent, so I can go in and be creative and hopefully get this thing to take off. That's why I laugh. Oh, you're all fucking grifters and this and that. Every single dollar that I literally have made on YouTube has gone back into investing in this channel. I haven't collected a salary, haven't taken any money. I've invested it back in this channel. I laugh at that. They always call me a grifter and stuff like that. But I want to call off the new members. Thank you to Ali for the gift memberships. I appreciate it. He says, let's see, Freeloader has become a new member. Kate, Care Bear, Cha-ching, H. Let's see, Wisconsin, my father's keeper, Melanie, Snatch, nice name. Nade, you're all new members. You'll be able to watch the behind the scenes because you're a member now. You'll be able to get that content, and I'm only going to send it out to members only. And then once it gets built out, we'll have the first official live in there and do the big reveal. I think you're all going to be surprised. I think you're all going to be wowed. I'm in my bedroom right now. Yes, this is my bedroom. Ali says, you don't have a lazy eye and purple hair and calling your wife a roommate. You don't look like a grifter to me. We both know one of those. Yes, we do. Yeah, it's just crazy. I love all these people. They come in and, oh, you're fucking grifter, you're grifter. Like, yes, I make money on YouTube. Yes, I absolutely make money. It's not a lot of money, but it's going to keep the lights on in the studio. I can promise you that. I can promise you that. It will keep the lights on in the studio. I got to pay taxes too. Fucking government takes a lot of money from that. You got to pay those taxes too. So any help I can get, I appreciate it. It's up to you if you want to hit that donate button or join as a member. I don't force any hands. I might call it out every now and then if you want to donate to me. And obviously we have Chatbot in the chat dropping links too. And that's up to you. You want to support me? I appreciate it. If not, come here and hang out. That's perfectly fine too. All I ask you to do is subscribe, hit the like button, and comment. All right, let's finish this up and go from there. And I have a day job too. I work 40 plus hours a week. And I laugh. Oh, you just sit around all the time. Like, I don't sit around all the time. Believe me, I balance a lot of things in my life. A lot of things in my life. All right, let's go.
It sounds far more vast. The R. Kelly situation involved really one person, which is why we always felt and continue to feel, and it's an issue on appeal, that it was an overreach by the federal government because they brought.
YouTube is not an overnight game. I've been, in this 3 years, and I'm only at 18,000 subscribers. It's a lot. 18,000 is a lot. But subscribers come and go, and content changes, and people will leave and people will come back. So, and not everybody's here to watch a live show. They'll catch it on a replay or whatever. All right, let's keep going.
A RICO and enterprise action against a single person. It sounds like in Diddy's case, there might actually be an enterprise that was operating, a sex enterprise. That sounds like in Diddy's case, from the last segment you had.
I'm going to this, all right, so the Sandra Birchmore stream, I did a couple of streams back. I did that big, huge presentation when Mizzy came on. That took me 4 hours on my day off to put that together. Like the one I did last night with Melanie Little, that took me 2 hours of research and cut and pasting all that together in Canva to put that together for all of you. I do this for you. That's why I laugh. Like, if I was grifting, I wouldn't be down at the courthouse taking days off from my day job to go down and shoot video and do lives from down there and, spend all this money to put a studio together. I want to do this. I want to make this my career for the rest of my life. This is what I want to do. I want to be in media. I want to entertain. I don't want to go back to a corporate job. And I'm hoping in the next couple of years that this dream comes true. That's why I want to do this, why I keep doing it. I love it. I love doing this. It's like the biggest part of my life. It's a big thrill to be able to come here and do this at night. I enjoy doing it. It's fun. It gets stressful, but it's fun. You know, and I don't want to go back to a corporate job. I hope this can turn into a full-time business. And there are YouTubers out there that are doing it and they're making it full-time. But I needed to progress and, you know, say, hey, I really want to do this. I want to get this out of my bedroom and into a working studio. I've been saying that for a year. And now I had the opportunity to do it. And it's just stepping up the game. Now I'm actually going to be able to have live people in the studio. I have a human being with me, and I can actually sit down with them and have a conversation, which is going to be a game changer, complete game changer. All right, let's keep playing this. We got about another 3-4 minutes here.
There might be other people involved, other celebrities involved, other music executives involved, other members of his family, other employees involved and willingly involved.
It's awesome.
So it seems like a far more encompassing case.
So what's the are they following a similar roadmap?
I'm going to be honest with you too. If I didn't meet Ali Reza and JJ from JJ's Watch Hangout and all of the awesome people that hang out on that panel, I would not be where I am today. They were the ones that showed me the ropes in live streaming. They were the ones that showed me how to do all of this. I was doing different material back then. I was kind of in the wristwatch genre. But if I didn't meet them on YouTube and become friends with all of them, I would not be here right now. I would have not branched on and found, I guess, my true calling. They pushed me to do it. They helped me get my channel rolling and taught me the ropes of live streaming. I've said that from day one, and I always give JJ, Ali, and all of them over on JJ's Watch Hangout credit. If I did not meet those guys, I would not be here. I literally would not be here. And I thank them a lot. I thank them a lot. I just talked to JJ the other day, and I always tell him, I'm always so thankful that I met you, because I would have not been here. I would have had the balls to turn on a microphone and do what I'm doing. And, you know, I appreciate those guys. Really do. Really, really do appreciate those guys. All right, let's keep playing through here.
What they did with R. Kelly, which, you know, resulted in the RICO charges here. And where does the evidence come from for prosecutors here? Are they going to try to flip people? Do they need accusers to come forward? Do they need underage accusers who will be willing to testify?
So let's talk about what they did a couple of days ago. They very publicly raided 2 of his homes. And obviously, any raid is a public thing. Usually the feds wait until almost the last minute to do those kinds of raids in their investigation. They need to get enough information to go to a judge and get a search warrant. That means they've already got witnesses. That means they've already got some evidence, at least enough evidence to convince a judge that there have been violations of federal law. Once they get those search warrants and the public knows, especially when they're dealing with someone like Diddy, they better have pretty good proof. Now Diddy knows what's going on. Now everyone else knows what's going on. What's the point of that? They want these other people who were involved to be calling them and going, oh my God, I'm scared to death. I will tell you everything. Please don't come knocking on my door. I will flip. What do you want to know? And that's the purpose.
We have about a minute left here. Could this be defensible if they do come forward with charges and are able to build the type of case you're describing?
Look, any case is defensible because you don't know what all the evidence is. And you have to see that. So any case is defensible. The feds don't mess around. It sounds like there's a lot of people. You have to wonder, why have all of these people waited so long? Why are they all piling on now? The first case, there was a very quick settlement. Is this just a money grab? This is a fabulously wealthy person. So there are reasons why people might be making these allegations, but there's also, I've read that there's video. If there's video confirming the allegations, then it's going to be very hard to defend.
Steve Greenberg, the case.
All right, that was Vinny. So real quick, I do know this. I'm going to let everybody know once everything gets settled in the studio, there's going to be some changes. I'll talk about that more when we get to the grand opening of the studio. So there will be some changes. I already have a bunch of stuff lined up. I'm working on new merch. I do have a merch store now. I'm not completely happy with the vendor, so I'm going to be switching a vendor. It's just going to take time. The most important thing is getting that studio built out. And I'm going to be honest with you, the equipment that I bought is going to be a little bit of a learning curve for me. Spent a lot of money on equipment. I got the best stuff that you could get because I said, look, I'm going all the way when I do this, and I have a future plan for what I want to do. So if this ever expands beyond what LTL is right now, I have another interest in my mind and another business venture that I'd like to get into. So I just want to see how this goes. I have to learn that equipment. It's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a learning curve for me for a little while. But once it gets up and running, it will be great. So I'm going to continue to stream from my bedroom until this gets all built out, but you'll be able to track the progress on the studio by becoming a member. If you go down there and join the members only, I'm going to do every time I go in and do something or set something up, or, you know, maybe we're doing some painting or putting furniture, you'll be able to watch the experience as we build this thing out. And I will do it for members only. And I'll just drop those videos on members only. So if you want to join that and see that, you're not a member, just go down there and hit the join button. You can join a membership down there. I think mine started at $1.99, and that will get you access to that content. What else? New merch is going to be launching. I'm not happy with the designs that I have right now. So all of that will be reset, and it's just going to take time. It's going to take a little bit of time. So just bear with me. I do. I always have a lot of big visions in my head of things that I see and what I want to do. Let's see this real quick. Let's see. Ali says, Brian, consider getting someone like Harvey Silverglade on to talk about the other side, prosecutorial abuse, onwards and upwards. Congrats to you and the lady in the audience. Until next time, old buddy. Ali, thank you so much for the 4404. I love it. Very cool. And yeah, I mean, it's someone that I can look into. I've had a lot of fine guests on this show. I'm amazed at some of the people that I've had here and had contact with, and gotten to build friendships with those people. It's been interesting. I think interviewing is my strongest point, my strongest attribute. I think that's my strongest. When I literally can sit with someone or I can have them on a live stream, I think that's my strongest attribute. And we're going to get there. Believe me, we're going to get there. Yeah, Dawn, we go big or go home. That's what we do here in LTL. We go big or we go home. I'm going for it. And I have someone behind me that absolutely 1000% supports what I do. She is there with me. I bounce many ideas off her. We might argue about it or disagree. But she supports what I do, and she just says, do what makes you happy. And I think that's awesome because she knows that this is part of my life, and she respects that and understands it and supports what I do, and she's there to help, and that's awesome. So that's what's made her such a great compliment to me. And that was a great quality about my girlfriend when I got involved with her. You know, she was really supportive of what I do. She said, just keep doing you. And I love that about her. So where was I? All right. I want to actually check this out. Cuomo has a former Diddy attorney on. We'll play this one quick video, and then we're going to wrap this one up, about a 5-minute video here. Thank you all for being here tonight. Please go down to subscribe if you haven't. Make sure to comment after this video posts. And like I said, if you want to support the channel anyway, all my links are there. I have my link up at the top. You can donate through Buy Me a Coffee. I appreciate it. All right, let's keep playing through.
Attorney for Sean Combs, Mark Garagos, and former FBI agent Stuart Kaplan. It's good to have you both, gentlemen. Stu, you're sending subpoenas to his cell phone company, the people who gives him the jet, some commercial airlines that he's been on. What is this about capturing? And why did it come after the raid, not before it?
Well, so to your latter point is there was an investigative assessment clearly that
Thank you, Paula.
realized that the issuance of these grand jury subpoenas would not be kept confidential.
Yeah, real quick, I want to read this because I think this is a great. Paula, great moderator, been here for quite a long time, channel member. I love the support. She says, we have cried together, we've laughed together, we've learned together, we've had aha moments and manhunts together, and we will continue to grow together. That's like the perfect statement for this channel. You know, like I said, I don't care if, you know, one person comes here and watches the live. I remember going back and watching, you know, having lives back last year in March. There was like 5 people in the room, and what this platform has grown into and this community has grown into has been amazing. You know, but that is like the perfect statement right there. So true. We've done all of those things here. We've done all of those things here. And I don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would do without all of you. I don't know what I would do without this platform or being here. I really enjoy doing this. I love doing it. And I have no idea what I would do. All right, let's keep playing through this. It's been a long live. I appreciate everybody here. It's getting late. I want to just see what this panel has to say.
They were concerned about them being
Aren't
leaked
hearing
and
us.
that the target of their investigation would then be
Yeah.
able to utilize that information to perhaps delete or destroy or remove evidence. And so it was the proper call, especially when you have a high-profile individual
Someone wants to help
entertainer
May
like
out,
this.
please
And so
help
that's
her out.
why in the normal course, after a search warrant, now that the world knows that he's a target of a criminal investigation, it would make more sense.
Yes, Canelo.
I accept Stu's explanation as plausible, but Mark, you know, I've been learning at your lap for decades, and usually the big raid is like the finale of when they're going in hot and heavy. Here, it didn't go that way. Do you think it's just
Oh, yes.
subjective
My
choice by
favorite.
this particular investigative team, or does it raise questions for you?
No, it raises questions. I think clearly your guest is right that they don't want to tip off that they're going in. And that's why normally I often see it, that they'll issue the subpoenas right as they're executing the search warrant almost simultaneously, especially when you have this kind of a presence. The thing that I've been highlighting about this is this seems awfully quick for a federal investigation. It's almost warp speed. And I do want to comment, even though it was on your cry on down below, when you were talking about 50 Cent's ex, she came out today and she specifically denied that that any of this was true. And I think that also goes to your
That
other guest
statue
who
is
was
so
talking
fucking
about.
weird. Isn't that a weird That's weird. That's a weird statue. That is a weird statue, man. That's some cult shit, man.
About, you know, you can bury these things in there and they just become kind of urban legend almost immediately. And so I think that some of these claims already are demonstrably false. And I think that if the feds are using one or both of these lawsuits as kind of a roadmap, I think that they're running those to ground and they're finding out quickly a lot of this stuff may not be true.
Statue.
What's the chance, Stu, that the feds could get misled because of all this intrigue within the hip hop world and these civil suits that seem to be a trail of breadcrumbs, but really they're more about money than truth?
Well, I know from my own experience, Chris, and to Mark's point, it's not unusual that there's a civil suit that comes to the attention of law enforcement. And just as Mark said, it may be used as a roadmap. But Mark I would imagine, would agree with me that notwithstanding these complaints, meaning these civil lawsuits that were published many, many months ago, in order to convince a sitting magistrate to issue a search warrant based upon an affiant who swears out that there is probable cause to believe that the fruits of some criminal enterprise or some crime may be found in someone's house, you have to have credible, ripe information. That means that there's got to be some fresh information. Usually the courts require within 30 days that something new, something that has been corroborated. It would be impossible that the magistrate, the judge who signed off on this search warrant, would have just had the information contained in a civil court complaint. There's something more that came to light. It's probably an informant or a victim. And that is why you're seeing, as Mark said, warp speed with respect to them moving quickly on this.
Well, I hope they do go quickly. I know the expression that, justice delayed is justice denied, but also haste makes waste, right? Two things can be true at once. But I will tell you, and I say the same thing about the mayor of New York City, Adam.
Okay, so I'll help people out real quick. If you go, I don't know what you're on, but if you go down to the bottom of the chat, you can become a member by clicking the join button. Click the join button, that will take you over to one of my memberships, or you can just click that link that just dropped, the memberships link. That'll take you over to members. You want a super chat, you just click that little $ at the end, at the bottom of the live chat, and that's how you do a super chat. Yes, Rome wasn't built in one day. All right, let's keep playing this out.
When you make a big show like this in public, you wreck people. You wreck their reputation. And I really do believe there should be something quickly in the form of confirming why this person's reputation was trashed the way it was. Because, Stu, as we both know, the media wasn't a secret what they were doing at Diddy's homes, right? They were well positioned for it. So somebody had told them. So let's see what happens next. And I can tell you, Garagos is not a huge fan of the standards you need to get a search warrant, but your points are well received. And we'll continue the conversation when we learn more. Stuart Kaplan, appreciate you stepping in. Mark Garagos, as always, appreciate you.
All right, we'll just keep, check this out. I want to end with this. This is cool. Look at this guy here. Look at this guy here. That is a New York City police officer posing hanging over Times Square in 1920. Look at that. Doesn't that just give you anxiety looking at that? That's insane, right? That is insane. Look at that. Like nothing, right? Like nothing. I'm going to start doing these at the end. These little like old photos and stuff. Isn't that crazy? Just hanging there. Like the guys, that famous picture, the guys that hang in steel in like the 20s or 30s, and they're not even tied off and they're just eating lunch. Don't you dare. I am afraid of heights. Super afraid of heights. Yeah, we found that out in IKEA the other day when I had to go up the fucking escalator. But isn't that crazy? He's not even tied off or nothing. Just literally look how like loose this guy looks. Look at, that's some scary shit right there. That's it. No tie off, no nothing. It's insane. Look at the Macy's sign in the background. Macy's in the 20s. It's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Good stuff. Good stuff. I like looking at all these old photos. Good stuff. All right. It is late. We did a 2-hour banger tonight. I'm getting excited. In 2 days, I will have keys to the new studio. And I will get some video of the blank canvas. And we'll start doing some members-only videos as we build this thing out. I'm hoping for a 2-week build. Maybe. We just started getting some furniture for the place. I got to pick out some paint, and I have all my audio and video equipment. I literally just have to assemble it all and go, how does this all work? But I got all the right stuff that I want, and we'll get it set up. The camera that I got is amazing. The lens that I got is amazing. So that the look will change a lot. It will be much more upscale and much more professional. And we're going to build out 2 studios. We're going to have one module studio like this, where we do the single stuff still. And then I'm going to have an area in the room where I can do, a 2-person podcast or 3-person podcast and invite live guests in to all sit down and just hang, and we all have a conversation. I think it's going to be great. But we're going to make that 12 by 12 room work. We'll make it work. And you're all going to be part of that. So again, I appreciate y'all being here. It is late. We have been, 2 hours now, and I'm going to end this one. I may be back. I have a live plan for Sunday night, but I may do some work in the studio on Sunday night, so I may not do a live, but I definitely will be back next week. We'll be keeping you all up to date with videos and the members only of the studio. And I appreciate everybody being here. Thank you. We just passed 18,000 subscribers the other day. We're at 18,130. The channel has been on rocket fuel lately. I love when it's charging and there's new people coming in and seeing the lives, and it's awesome. I appreciate it. So on to 20,000, on to 25,000 and beyond, and maybe one day I get one of those awesome silver play buttons at 100,000 subscribers. That would be great. But we're going to keep beating the drum, keep pushing forward. Lots of things here that we'll be doing on LTL. I love to do the mix of content, and I appreciate all the new people that have come over and checked this out. So please make sure to subscribe down below. I appreciate you all. I'm going to hit the outro. Everybody have an amazing night. I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks for the support. Bye-bye.
True crime, we going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden and mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie. Getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. It's true crime, unraveling the web of evil. No stone left unturned. We dive into the crime. Yeah, we digging up the dirt, bringing justice to the crime. LTL True Crime, unveiling dark realities of the crime. Unraveling the web of evil. No stone left unturned. We dive into the crime. Yeah, we digging up the dirt, bringing justice to the crime. LTL True Crime, unveiling dark realities.